Hi everyone, my name is Caitlin and I'm in the Student Recruitment Office here at the ANU, and I'd like to welcome you to our webinar today. With me I have Dave Edwards from Domestic Admissions. For your information, we will be recording this session. Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge and celebrate the first Australians on whose traditional lands we meet today and around Australia, and pay our respect to elders past, present and emerging. So just a bit of housekeeping. Please listen to Dave's presentation as he goes through before asking any questions. Once he's done, you can use the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen to ask any questions that you have. Do remember, if your question is particularly personal or relevant to your situation, do consider using the anonymous attendee button to ask your question. So with that, I will take myself away and thank you, Dave.
Thanks, Caitlin. Hey guys, so today we're going to be talking about the direct application method that we'll be using for ANU for 2022. What we'll go through today will be the admissions process, the timeline for applicants, and when you can expect to hear back from us around your offers, both in August and December, and then what's staying for 2022. So what's staying for 2022 is about we made changes last year due to COVID, and we're keeping some of those changes in for this year coming. And then obviously I'll have a brief discussion about the degree preferences and the co-curricular and service requirements that we will as well. So to kick things off, the timeline for the applications and offers, as you can see today, the application is open, so jump on there if you haven't already, and have a look at the application, have a look at the documentation that you need to do, and make that application and submit it as soon as possible. So then if there is any further documentation that we need for your application to be able to make an assessment for the early offers in August, then that will give you and us enough time to review your application and to get that those documentations. So the application closing deadline is the 24th of May. So in roughly about 6 weeks, that you'll need to have that application submitted by. Just a side note as well, please, if you're thinking about doing the health science as a course next year, you'll need to add that in as a preference before the 24th of May, as you won't be able to change that preference out or in after that date. So what happens after the 24th of May is then we'll take a month or a couple months to review your application and have a look at obviously your academic, your scholarship and your accommodation side of things. And then on the 9th of August, we'll release early offers. So if we're able to produce an ANU selection rank, we'll then issue an offer based on that selection rank if it's high enough for the courses that you've that's sitting in your preferences. And then to accept that early offer, you'll need to do so by the 6th of September, sorry. And that's just to give us an indication that you are still really wanting to come to ANU and that we know and will reserve a place in that program for you that you accept. And then if you decide later in the year that that's potentially not the course that you want to do, then the change of preference will open on October 1st. And then there are some on the 10th of November, a few of our ATAR Plus programs like the Visual Arts and Design preference will close early as well, just so this gives us enough time to conduct interviews and things for these programs. And then the 30th of November, then the PHP's programs will be closing as well. And then for every other program, besides the ones that are listed out here, they will be closing on the 18th of December. But this date is yet to be confirmed, as it will depend on when ATARs are released for the year, but we'll know that and we'll update our websites throughout the course of the year. And then once this change of preferences close and ATARs are released, then we'll release offers on the 23rd to the 7th of January, depending on when those results are released. And then to accept your final offer, you will have up until the 18th of January to accept your final academic offer. So, like I alluded to before, is in last year due to COVID, we made a few changes about what was about the August offers being conditional, and a few prerequisites, and obviously some minimum requirements that will stay. So First off, the August offers will be conditional on completion of your Year 12 and achieving an ATAR. So this means that if your Year 11 selection rank that we're producing in August is high enough to get into your preferred program, then all you'll need to do is complete your Year 12 and achieve an ATAR as well. Not necessarily the ATAR to get into the program, but because we'll use your highest of your 2 ranks. So then with the prerequisites, will be assessed based on Year 12 enrolments for August offers. So if you are looking at doing a course that has a prerequisite program, what I suggest is, or what we need you to do, is upload your Year 12 enrolment details as part of your application. So then we can assess your prerequisites on your Year 12 enrolments for the August offers. So then we can consider you for that. If you don't, then we won't be able to consider you for that program until we get your final results in the Year 12 when ATARs are released, etc. And then the last point is the minimum requirements will stay the same at 2021 levels. Some programs are capped, i.e. the Bachelor of Health Science is a very competitive program and there's only 60 places. So it's a very competitive program, but there are other programs that are out there like Bachelor International Relations, for instance, that had an ATAR requirement of 90 in 2020, but it's now dropped down to 85 for last year, and it will continue at 85 for this year as well. So moving forward, we'll have, it's also explaining about the end of year assessment that will take the better of your Year 11 or Year 12 rank. So like that first point that I made, the Year 11, if your Year 11 is better than your Year 12, then we'll take your Year 11 rank. Or if your Year 12 is better than Year 11, then we'll take your Year 12 rank. Whatever's better for you in that situation, that's what we'll look at your final list of preferences come December. And again, I'll reiterate, early offers will be honoured as long as students or applicants complete Year 12 with an ATAR. So that's just making sure that you complete your studies fully with an ATAR, which if you're on course for an ATAR, then just keep doing what you're doing and you'll get that ATAR. So we've got, ANU has a range of degree preferences, and when you're making your application and when you're changing your preference, you can have up to 5 degree preferences, and that can include all 3 flexible doubles, a Bachelor of Health Science and an arts program, for instance. So again, the flexible doubles will give you over 700 combinations, and we'll be able to choose once you are able to accept your final offer in December. So you can put the indication in when you put your flexible double. You can say you want to do science or arts or business and international relations, for instance, and then as an indication, so we know what you're kind of looking for, and if there is any prerequisites, we can look into those as well. And then come December, what we'll do is we'll look at your final list of 5 preferences, look at your most eligible preference, and then if it is to the flexible double, then upon accepting your flexible double, that's where you choose your 2 program preferences that you wish. So against what ATAR or your better rank. So if you've got a better Year 11, you'll be able to choose which programs you select off your Year 11, and then again off your prerequisites as well. Some degrees do have additional selection criteria. So all the PHBs all have additional selection criteria. So jump onto their pages on programs and courses and see what those selection criteria are. Visual arts and design, like I alluded to in the timeline, is that you'll need to conduct an interview with the College of Arts and Social Sciences to get entry into those programs. And then, of course, our last degree that does have additional selection criteria is the Bachelor of Health Science. So you'll need to complete the additional selection criteria for that as well, and make sure that is all submitted before the 24th of May, because you won't be able to change your preferences after the 24th of May for the Bachelor of Health Science. So the prerequisite requirements, again, are off last year, and you will need to, they've been lowered a little bit, the same as last year, but lower than 2020. And again, we are keeping this for this year again. So make sure that you upload your Year 12 enrolment so we can use that assessment early. But if you don't, then we'll use your Year 12 scores and we'll go from there and use that assessment. So like I've alluded to, please have a look at that link below of where those additional selection criteria are. There is one that I did miss in the previous slide, which is Bachelor of Music. If you are looking for performance major only, so if you're looking for the performance major of this program, then you're best to make sure you fill out the additional selection criteria. So then when you get the offer to the Bachelor of Music, you'll be able to go into that performance major in itself. Cool, and on to the next. So these are the degrees that require the prerequisite or that have a prerequisite requirement. Most of these are to do with the mathematics prerequisite. So please upload your Year 12 Semester 1 report or evidence of Year 12 by the 28th of May. I know we've said the 24th of May as the cutoff, but the 28th of May is for documents only, but get everything to us on the 24th. So if in that time, if we need to contact you, you'll be able to still upload those documents for whatever reason. And then moving on. So as this has become the norm now, we have the co-curricular and service requirement where you can upload up to a maximum of, or can select a maximum of 5 co-curricular and service requirement activities that you participated in during years 10, year 12, or year 11 and year 12. Obviously you need to upload the documentation to support the claim that you're submitted that you're doing. To jump onto that website that's on that link, again, we can provide these at a later date as well. And then so about the documentary evidence, please make sure that it identifies the applicant by the full name. So yourself, make sure it's got your full name as that you've participated in that activity, and then also provide the full name and signature and contact details of the person who oversaw you do this skill or activity. So if, for instance, you're a part of a sporting team, then that could be a coach where they just put their full name, signature, and a mobile phone number or an email address. So then we can contact them to verify that participation if we need to. Also on that letter, you can identify the activity by name that the applicant were involved in, and the dates that you engaged in the activity. So if you were playing that sport and it was over the winter, then you could do from April to August, for instance. But what you can do just one last little bit on that one is that you can also, if you can't get that letter correct, we have a supplementary form that's on our website that you can fill out, and that has all the dates, activities, and contact details and everything that we need. So if you just fill that form out, then we shouldn't be asking you for any further details. So that's the end of this presentation. And Caitlin will just put up some contact details for us as well. If you do have any further questions that this might have gone a bit too quick or you didn't really hit what you were hoping to, then please contact any two of these email addresses, and we'll happily get back to you as soon as possible.
Definitely. Perfect. Thanks, Dave. That's awesome. So I do have a question here, and hopefully this doesn't cover up what's on the screen now. Anyway, you said the highest of Year 11 and Year 12 ATARs will be used. This means admission from August offer is not guaranteed. Am I right? Could you maybe just clarify that a little, just so that's apart from everything else, if that's okay, Dave?
Yeah. So it is guaranteed, provided that you complete Year 12 with an ATAR. So what you need to do is, if we are using Year 11, so your August offer, is the only condition is that you need to complete with an ATAR. That's the only thing that you need to do.
Perfect. Thank you. So everyone else, please type your questions in if you have any. That's easy. We'll answer them as we go. Otherwise, we will sing, and that is a threat. So I'm joking. People don't know my sense of humour, Dave, potentially.
And honestly, I don't want to hear myself sing, so
no, that's right.
Please answer those questions.
Please ask questions, yeah. When the offers are released on August 9th, are they released with the selection rank ATAR, which ANU has calculated?
Yes, and the way that we calculate that is by your Year 11 score, the medium ATAR of your school, and what your history of your school's ATAR, etc., in the past has been as well. So it's a method that ANU have come up with themselves, so it wouldn't reflect at another institution. It's only an ANU focused one.
Fantastic, great. Well done. Please ask your questions. Okay, I can't think of any myself. I think we've kind of covered everything off, Dave. But I know sometimes typing takes a bit, so that's okay. Now, what I might do is I might just quickly, for everyone, grab the website that is really useful for the co-curricular or service requirement, which has the template, which I think is sometimes, I certainly urge people to use it, Dave, just because it asks all the questions we need answered, basically.
Yeah, it's the template is one of the best ways of going about it, just because it gives us all the information we need. It's easy for us to look at and assess, and it stops us contacting you guys for further details or the school, which we know you guys are busy studying your Year 12, and the school's obviously busy trying to teach you Year 12.
Yeah, that's it. Perfect. I've popped that in the chat for everyone, so you should have access to that. I have a question here. How do the early entry applications work? And that's what we've actually gone through. So what will happen is, I should say, we are recording this webinar. So it will go up on the ANU Experience YouTube channel in the next day or so. But on that channel as well, there are a number of webinars, and there's also a how-to video on how to apply that actually walks you through the application itself. So we won't rehash that one, I think. So who is applicable for the NRAS scheme? Dave, are you happy to talk about this? Because I'm happy equally too.
Yeah, that's definitely more of an accommodation one, which unfortunately isn't down my...
Yeah, that's it. So that is an accommodation question. So the NRAS is the National Rental Affordability Scheme. That is not continuing at ANU from 2022. So that's obviously all the current Year 12s. That's your applicant year. So it's not applicable anymore. And it's not a question you have to answer within the application itself. So I wouldn't worry too much about that one. But you can, again, rewatch the accommodation webinar on the ANU Experience YouTube channel if you want more info. Could you please clarify the process which ANU uses to calculate one's predicted ATAR based off Year 11 results?
Yeah, okay.
Go into that a bit more, Dave?
Yeah, so first and foremost, it isn't a prediction of an ATAR. It's a calculated mathematical model that we've produced over the last couple of years and a few years before that. So we've taken about 5 years worth of data and from every school in Australia, and we look at your Year 11 scores that you've used or that you've achieved, sorry, and we put that into our little formula, and we use the median ATAR from your school of previous years, and then that builds into an ANU selection rank. So we have two ANU selection rank. One is a Year 11 ANU selection rank, and then two is the Year 12 ANU selection rank, which is your ATAR plus adjustments. So with the Year 11 ANU selection rank, that also includes any EAS adjustment factors, so any disadvantages that you've come by over the last couple of years, or even in the last couple of 6 months, then that all goes in with your median ATAR with your school results, and then that produces a rank that looks like a predicted ATAR, but it actually isn't a predicted ATAR because it matches everything else.
Perfect. Perfect. Are we able to edit our early application, our direct application? That's kind of interchangeable, before submitting it, Dave. Could you go into what you can and can't edit, maybe, just to expand on that?
So there's a big range of things that you can and can't edit. Obviously, once you haven't submitted the application, you can go back and edit anything in that application that you need to. Once you've submitted it, there's only a few things that you can still go back in. Obviously, you won't be able to change your name and things like that. You'll need to contact us. You'll be able to change an authorised contact. So if you need your mum or dad or parent or guardian or brother or sister to act on your behalf while you're studying your exams or whatever, you can log in and add in that authorised contact. You'll be able to add in any CCS or elite athlete or EAS up until the 24th of May. Once the 24th of May hits, then everything gets closed off except for your authorised contact. And then we'll be able, because we need that time to assess and look at things like that. You won't be able to change the school that you went to if you've accidentally put that in wrong. So you'll just need to contact us and we'll be able to fix that up for you. You'll be able to go back in and edit the scholarship question to yes, no up until the 24th of May. The only one that you can't edit yes, no to would be the accommodation one. So once you've submitted your application, you won't be able to change your accommodation answer. You will need to contact the accommodation team.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Dave. Are there better co-curricular activities to use other than others to list, I guess I'd say? Or do you just need to have 5, or do you need to have 5 at all, I think should be added to that?
Yeah, well, you don't necessarily need to have 5. What we're looking for is a 3 out of the 7 skill on the threshold. So there's on the co-curricular and service schedule, there's a little mini calculator that has a schedule as such that has a threshold of, you just need to meet 3 of the skills out of the 7 skills. So if one activity can, like work experience, for instance, so you've been working for 6 months, over 30 hours in that 6 months, you can just put that up, that co-curricular activity, and that's all we need, because you'll meet the 3 skills already. If you put 5 and you meet the 7 skills, then great, fantastic, you can put the 5, but you just need to meet those 3 minimum of that threshold.
Fantastic, thank you. Do school captains gain extra, I think really adjustments to get into ANU?
Yeah, school captains don't necessarily gain extra adjustments. Again, that's something that will help you meet the co-curricular service threshold, but it won't impact on your scholarship, your accommodation, or your academic offer at all.
Yeah,
it's just to get that skills.
Yeah, definitely. But, if you are applying for things like the Tuckwell, which I hope everyone who's here who's thinking about that submits their direct application by tonight, and things like that, then those sorts of achievements are really good to list. And yeah, otherwise we've answered that. Sorry. How do interstate students selecting? How about the interstate students selecting the number of courses? Will this affect the VCAT selection numbers?
No. So because obviously Victoria is different to any other state and territory, the way that they do theirs, and same as New South Wales ACT go through UAC, that won't affect, coming directly through us won't affect how many preferences you can hold in another institute, another TAC, for instance, with VTAC or UAC like that. You can still list 5 different preferences. You don't have to list ANU in those ones. By coming direct, that means you can have your 5 preferences at ANU, and it is ANU solely based and focused.
Mm-hmm. So I guess another question of that, Dave, is that should students, have a direct application and a UAC application? They shouldn't.
If you are planning to only come to ANU, then all you need is a direct application. Even if you're in 2 minds about coming to ANU, then please still submit a direct application, because if you submit one to UAC later and put an ANU preference, then that may, depending on how numbers go, and places in different programs. So please submit your application through the direct application method. If you are planning to also go to another institution, that's fine. You can apply through UAC and then list other preferences there. But again, come through the ANU direct one. 1, it's free, and 2, it gives you the accommodation, scholarship, and the academic offer all in the one bundle, which is so much easier to deal with than trying to jump between everywhere.
Definitely. Perfect. So is there any chance of getting into a course you want if you don't meet the prerequisites? That's a yes or no question. Then could you elaborate, Dave, on maybe some pathways into different courses if that's the case?
Yeah, so it honestly depends what course you're looking to get into. If it's a chemistry-based prerequisite that you don't meet, there is potentially a chemistry bridging course that you can do, or you can take that up as part of Year 12 subjects now, if that's possible. If it's a math prerequisite, it depends on the math prerequisite that you're looking to do. If it's one of the basic math, then there will be a test, in August. If you don't necessarily meet it, but it looks like you may, then we'll send you advice on how to potentially do a preparation course, a bridging course, or the academic college that runs that program will give you first year advice on what programs or what subjects you can take to then get into that course at a later date.
Perfect, thank you. So for scholarships through the direct application pathway, would I still need to achieve the required ATAR, or would my selection rank released in August be the final for my scholarship? And Dave, I might talk to that if you're happy with me doing that.
That's fine.
Yeah, so it was really dependent on the conditions of award for the scholarship. Some, I understand, Dave, can be awarded on your ANU selection rank. Some will be awarded on your ATAR, basically, which obviously doesn't come until the end of the year. That's right.
Yeah, so just to elaborate a bit further, so there is definitely, like the I think it's a university scholarship or one of them, that is purely based on ATAR and the raw ATAR, so not your ATAR plus adjustments, your raw ATAR, which is like the 99.95, the outstanding achievement one. But then there are other scholarships that will be awarded in August, depending, again, if you're Aboriginal and Indigenous, there's scholarships around there that can be awarded based on that. If you've got equity or you've suffered some disadvantages in your schooling, then potentially you might be able to be awarded just on those factors as well. So it doesn't necessarily look at your selection rank, but there are some that are released purely on your selection rank or ATAR.
Perfect. And I do think as well, it kind of is a good note to catch that you should definitely keep working hard towards your ATAR goals. I think that question's kind of getting to that. So definitely work towards, working hard, but at least having an offer in August, you'll know what you're doing and where you're going, and etc. So if we have not gotten our Year 12 half yearly report yet, can we still apply for the Tuckwell Scholarship by tonight? That's a yes, right, Dave?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. You're not going to have another chance to do it. So please get that in, and then have a chat to the scholarship team and just say, hey, we haven't been able to get that, and they'll be able to provide some advice on that matter.
That's right. But basically, I mean, most students are in that boat. I mean, it's not the half year of school, and those sorts of assessments are made on your Year 11 results anyway. So, if you've got a predicted ATAR around the 95, then you're on the path to being a contender for Tuckwell. But yes, you need to get that in tonight. It is 11:59 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. So Canberra time. Don't forget if you're in Perth. Will our applications be negatively affected if we do not have 5 co-curriculars but still meet the criteria?
No, they won't be negatively affected at all. Like I said, you can put in the one activity. If it's, again, employment, then you'll still meet and you'll still be considered along someone that puts in 5 co-curricular and has 7 activities met. They're still going to be looked at in the same phase. Yeah,
perfect. We just want to know what our students are doing, and I think that's but it's up to you how many you decide, as long as you meet the requirement. Will there be a early offer round in 2023? So I think I'd rather say, will the admissions run the same way in 2023 for 2023 entry, I should say?
I mean, 2023 is a long way away. Let's get through this year first, but it's looking like it will. But we will obviously broadcast that late this year, early next year on what that's going to look like. It may look like the same, or it may revert back to what it was in the first couple of years that we were running this direct application, where it was a conditional offer in August based on getting the final ATAR and things like that. We'll still be doing early offers, but it will just, the way we're doing it may be a bit different to this year.
Yeah, definitely. So what I'd say is, keep keyed into all the information we provide on the website. And if you're on our mailing list, you can fill out our contact form and get in that way, and you will find out that information and be kept up to date. So are we able to apply for Tuckwell Scholarship if our direct application is submitted tonight but has outstanding documents?
Yes, yeah. You'll be able to, you will get, once your application is submitted by midnight, you'll get a link probably tomorrow morning about the Tuckwell application and how to do all that. So it's fine that you're able to submit that application and then obviously come back and upload those documents that you need to into where you need to.
Perfect, thank you. Are there any differences for students who do IB?
No, there's no difference. The only potential difference would be is if you lived in New South Wales and doing the HSC, is that we get those results directly. With IB, we just need you to complete the supplementary form or the result form that we have on our website, just to fill that out for IB. But other states and territories have got to do that as well, so that will be fine.
Fantastic. So I have a question here. Will the offer be conditional or unconditional? I guess it depends on what you mean by both, but Dave?
It will be conditional on completion of your Year 12 with an ATAR. So there's no other conditions. There's no meeting it with a prerequisite condition. There's no meeting it with a certain ATAR condition. It is just making sure that you complete your Year 12 with an ATAR.
Fantastic. Is my selection rank plus adjustment factors used to calculate my Tuckwell application, or is it without adjustment, for instance, equity adjustment factors?
I'm not across how the Tuckwell really do their assessment process. That is a very intricate sort of way. Yeah,
but from what I understand, it takes into consideration equity adjustments, which you can use for Tuckwell, but Tuckwell, you cannot use the academic adjustments, which do come at the end of Year 12 anyway, so that's not something you can rely on. But if you have applied for equity adjustments and you're on track, as I say, for a 95 plus ATAR with or without those equity adjustments, which you could get possibly up to 10, you could be eligible for. So just keep that in mind, that if your selection, your predicted ATAR is a lot lower than that, it might be just kind of keeping expectations where they need to be. It might not be an option for you. So I hope that answers your question. And it's not too tough, I don't mean to be. How do we know the IB prerequisites? Because on the course page, it only says the ATAR prerequisite subject, not the IB one. So probably more the New South Wales or ACT subjects.
Yeah, so there's an equivalency page on the UAC website, which pretty much converts a New South Wales ACT subject into an IB subject. So you'll be able to see there what the equivalency is, like a mathematics standard is, or higher level or something like that is the same as extension or something like that off the top of my head. But again, just jump on that website.
Yeah, and there is also information on the IBO's website as to the equivalencies for higher level, standard level, etc. So do check that out as well. So it is there. Now it says on the ANU website, Tuckwell applications close 18th of April. Is that incorrect? So basically what happens, and sorry Dave, I'm railroading you, you have to submit the direct application, the big application by tonight, 11:59 p.m, to then have the Tuckwell application trigger for you, and that application is due the 18th of April, again 11:59 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, Canberra time. So yeah, I just have to be really clear. So yeah, it is the 18th that Tuckwell closes, but you do need to submit your direct application before you submit Tuckwell, because you won't be able to complete the Tuckwell application without submitting the other, basically. Sorry, I know I talked around in circles then. Will this video be available after? Yes, it will. So we'll be placing this on the ANU Experience YouTube channel in the next day or so, once the recording comes through and we do an edit. So just as an FYI, that will happen. I do have another question. Okay, can I still edit the courses that I selected after submitting the application? And are we able to choose double degrees? Yeah.
Yeah. So once you submit your application, and it's before the 24th of May, you can go back in, edit your preferences how you wish, and then that will get locked down until October. And then once in October, you'll be able to go in and change your preferences again. And again, you can do that with the flexible doubles as well. You can put your indication in May and in October. If your mind changes or something really sparks your interest, you can go, actually, I want to do this, and that's fine as well.
Fantastic. Thanks, Dave. So far, no more questions. So we might just leave it for a minute in case any come through. If they don't, we might give everyone an early mark. I'm all about that. Yeah. Beat the traffic, guys.
What Canberra traffic? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's right. No Canberra traffic. Okay. No more questions. Okay. Before we start singing, I might close it off now, Dave. If you have any questions, do email the email addresses that I've popped into the chat that you can have access to. As I said, this will all be recorded and popped up on the ANU Experience YouTube. Other than that, thank you, Dave. It has been wonderful yet again.
Thanks, Caitlin.
Awesome.
Always a pleasure.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. See you later.
See you guys. Bye.